Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com's official YouTube channel. My name is Jacob Tiranno, and I am your host, and today I'm going to be doing my Week 12 update. Guys, as you could tell, last week I didn't upload update because there was a lot of stuff going on, personal issues, and the Batman vs. Superman, so things that got kind of crazy. So as you could probably tell, Week 11 and Week 12 are updated together. Last week when I tackled BuzzFeed's 19 seriously scary documentaries that will scare the hell out of you. And then this week as well. So I'm sorry for that delay. Try not to let that happen again. But as I told you guys, the heart of this challenge would be the fact that life's going to get in the way. Luckily, it was only the videos and not me actually missing any movies. So let's hop right into it. This week, I started off my week watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. I actually just posted my video review for that, so make sure to click this white eye up here. Link will drop down. You'll be able to find my actual written review as well as my video review. If you like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, you're going to like My Big Fat Greek Wedding too. It's silly, it's ridiculous, it's cheesy, it's a rom-com. It's a little bit convoluted. There's so much going on here that easily could have been thrown out. A lot of characters have like these throwaway storylines. For instance, Joey Fatone, he has this little subplot that's like maybe 10 sentences altogether, and it's just not necessary. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it. An okay movie. Not a movie that I particularly love, but I didn't particularly love the 2002 film, which is still the highest grossing rom-com of all time. But if you did, if you're a big Fat Greek Wedding fan, this movie was made for you in particular. It was literally engineered and created for your enjoyment. You're going to like it. There's plenty of references to the first film. All of our favorite characters are back, including Michael Constantine, who plays Tula's father, who is easily the heart of the film. Following that comes the biggest movie, one of the most anticipated movies of the year, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. And in case you didn't see our review, written or video, again, click this white eye right above my head. You'll be able to find those links there, including my Week 11 update that I mentioned earlier. Batman vs. Superman. Guys, I'm sure you've heard already. If you've not already seen the movie, movie is good, not great. I think that is everyone's kind of outlook on this movie. One of the most anticipated pictures of the year, and it all kind of just left everyone unsatisfied. Our video review is quite lengthy. It's actually over an hour, but I highly recommend you watch it if you've seen the movie especially. If you haven't, don't worry. The first 20-30 minutes are non-spoilers, and then the last we break it into two sections where we have a spoiler section, so make sure to go check it out because we really, me and Mr. James Shue, break down this movie, but also you could read my review at ChasingCinema.com or UNLVRebel.com. This movie also suffered from having too much going on, similar to My Big Fat Greek Wedding. When everyone predicted this movie, they were worried that so much was getting thrown in, so many characters, and that actually is what was wrong with it. DC and Warner Brothers just rushed this movie, and they throw, maybe not the production of this movie, but they try to throw so much in here to build the Justice League films that it feels so thrown together, and there's so much going on. The third act of the movie is where everything really kind of falls apart. It really made me question the filmmakers and the studios' confidence in their work, and it made me question if they feel like the audiences were idiots. To find out more, make sure to go check out my stuff. I mean, it's not a bad movie. I want to get this across because most of my review is picking out issues. Most of our video review is picking out issues, but I don't think it's a horrible movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's an okay movie. It's just not as good as everyone wanted it to be. Moving on, I watched Pee-wee's Big Holiday, the new film on Netflix, which was directed by John Lee and brings back Paul Reubens as the lovable character Pee-wee. Now, to best explain this, Pee-wee is big in my family. Don't ask me why. I don't know what. Not so much from my youth, but my brothers, my older brothers, had Pee-wee at every birthday of theirs. Not the real Pee-wee, of course, but an impersonator. They did the tequila song dance. I mean, it was just the thing. I don't know. Pee-wee's always been big in my family. I love Big Adventure. I still watch that movie to this day. I love the silliness of it, the funness, the playfulness, and of course the great character that Paul Reubens has really made a pop icon. So sitting down watching this, I was quite hesitant. And though the movie isn't as strong, story-wise, as Big Adventure, and I don't think it has as many quotable situations like Big Adventure. I do think that this movie is really on the shoulders of Paul Rubens, because it's just like you're visiting an old friend, right? It's like, it's silly, it's ridiculous. It does feel like a Pee-wee movie in the sense that the worlds that he creates and the silliness is there, but it's just spending time with Pee-wee that really makes this movie enjoyable. Nothing too spectacular, but also a good, fun movie. And so go check it out, and if anyone asks, tell them Large Marge sent you. Yeah, some of you might not get that, but anyway. The following night, which was rough, because this was Thursday evening, well, Friday morning, Thursday evening. Me and Mr. Shu, as you could tell in our video review, did the midnight premiere of Batman vs. Superman. Of course, we every Thursday host a midnight premiere at AMC Town Square. It was really, really crazy. And of course, that movie's 2.5 hours. So we didn't end up getting home from the theater till about 4 o'clock in the morning. And because I had already seen Batman vs. Superman, I saw it on Tuesday at a press screening, I had to watch another movie. And I watched Larry Crowne, and I was like, man, this is going to be tough. I don't know if I'm going to do my best to make it through. And I did. I actually sat through the entire movie without even breaking a sweat, without even worried about dozing off. To connect it, it was actually written by Nia Vardalos, who wrote By Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, and it's written by Tom Hanks as well. The film was directed by Tom Hanks and also stars him and Julia Roberts. This was, if I didn't say the title, Larry Crowne. Larry Crowne is a really nice movie. It's a kind, gentle movie. And I went on Rotten Tomatoes and just saw all this hate. A lot of people slammed this movie for being just not creative and just bland. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? And yes, I think it is unconventional, or it doesn't try to be unconventional. I think that it's not trying to break cinematic barriers, but at the tone of it, you have the chemistry of Julia Roberts and Tom Hanks, and that's all you need. I mean, they're both just so likable. Oh, well, Julia Roberts, yeah. I mean, they're both just so likable. You just see them together and you want to see them experiencing things together. You just like watching them. And I think that's what really kind of makes this movie work. It's kind, it's lighthearted, and it's a movie that I keep talking about. I keep telling people, hey, have you seen Larry Crowne? I mean, it was made in 2011, so it kind of snuck by me. But first of all, who doesn't like Tom Hanks? And then when you team him up with Julia Roberts, it's hard not to enjoy it. Following day, Steve Carell in Dan in Real Life. Dan in Real Life was a 2007 movie. I was working at Hot Video at the time, and this was like a big rental thing. And I just never got around to watching it. It stars Peter Hedges, directed by Peter Hedges, and was written by Steve Carell. Also stars Dane Cook and Juliette Binoche. Or Binoche, I'm not sure really how to pronounce that last name, my bad. But anyway, this was also, I think, a very gentle and pleasant movie, but it was also an example, before obviously Foxcatcher, of just like how great of an actor Steve Carell is, right? Like, we've known Steve Carell for being the comedian in 40-Year-Old Virgin, The Office, The Office, and then we were able to see Steve Carell do a little bit more emotional roles, right? And in this movie, he takes on this not super emotional story, not this super challenging as far as, well, I don't want to say that, but not as extreme as his character in Foxcatcher. But he has to be able to play this fine line of someone that is heartbroken, but that someone that is falling in love, but also feels tormented. And I think he does that really, really well. I mean, the movie gives you some great laughs, and Julie Binoche is also really, really good in this movie, and it has a lot of heart. So it was enjoyable. Then, that brings me to 1941. Yes, that is the title of the movie, made in 1979. A movie that stars Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Ned Beatty. We have Christopher Lee in the movie. We have Warren Oates, Robert Stack. We have John Candy. I mean, this movie is filled, and it was directed by Steven Spielberg. It was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, a few other people. And I must be curious, you're probably thinking to yourself, why have I not heard of 1941? I know why now. Because when I watched this movie and I was like, God, a Steven Spielberg movie with all these people, why aren't people talking about this movie? Well, it's because it's not a very good one. It's a huge cluster of just undeveloped characters and undeveloped story. It's like someone took It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World and Dr. Strangelove, blended it together, and it just made this awful combination. You know, it's a mad world in the sense that there's multiple characters running around, and we're keep cutting to different stories and all these different characters, a lot of famous actors. And Doctor Strangelove, because it's like supposedly this political satire, it takes place during World War, Pearl Harbor, and it's just kind of about the war and about how all these people interact with the war. It's just silly. It's like I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm surprised it came from Steven Spielberg. I do think the movie has a really cool stunt or action piece at the end of the film, but trust me, the 2 hours and 20 minutes to get there is far too long, worth it. But yeah, not a fan of this movie, and I can understand why people don't talk about it anymore. Finally, that brings me to my last movie of the week, which is Tu Mama Tambien, the Spanish film from Alfonso Cuarón, which has been talked about for a long time. A very loved movie, and I'm surprised it took me so long to finally see it. But I absolutely love this movie. I would easily put this as a contender for one of the most beautiful films and one of the most movies that I enjoyed since doing this challenge. I know I've said that a few times, but obviously as I progress, I'm going to like things more and more. But I would think that this is my favorite that I've seen so far. Tu Mama Tambien is a movie about adolescence, about loyalty, about friendship, about sex, about life, about death. It's really, really racy. It's in your face, but it's really driven by the wonderful performances and well-told story. It's also visually stunning. The cinematographer, of course, Alfonso Cuarón's good friend, who recently just won another Oscar. His name is escaping me at the moment. I will have it. Okay, I'll come back to that. Oh, Emmanuel Lubezki. He did the cinematography in this movie, and it is beautiful to look at. However, it's not even the looks of this movie that is really worth talking about. Like, this movie just tackles so many things. It subtly makes commentary on the state of Mexican society and the state of society in Mexico, and it does it so wonderfully. I mean, we'll have these actions and these dialogues, and eventually we will lose all audio and hear a voiceover addressing how Mexico is being affected, or how these characters are going to be affected by the change in Mexican government and all that. And then throughout the whole entire movie, we see these, people getting pulled over. We see these soldiers, and these characters just not even noticing it. It's not even apparent to them, but lo and behold, in a few years, it's going to really take hold of their life. It's erotic, it's funny, but like I said, it's really about incredible themes like living life to the fullest and facing death without fear. And I think that's where this movie really reaches that bar. A wonderful movie, spectacular, easily one of the best, if not the best movie that I watched since starting this journey. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this Week 12 update. Make sure to tune in with me next week in my Week 13 update. Day 85 started today. You'll be hearing all about that next week. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob Tiranno. Make sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you feel about these movies in the comment sections below. Also hit that subscribe to make sure you get to see all of my week updates and movie reviews. And my name is Jacob Tiranno. Please continue chasing cinema.